Right now, City of Madison officials are warning people to be prepared for possible flash flooding, what they're recommending to stay safe.
And Madison police have arrested one of two suspects in a homicide on Madison's north side over the weekend.
Plus, in the wake of Chief Mike Koval's retirement, Madison's 2020 budget plans do not include additional funding for officers.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
Thank you for joining us. Today's spotty showers could turn to heavy rain tonight.
Well, that's causing flash flooding concerns. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canolti breaks down where we could see those issues in your first alert forecast. Gary?
Yeah, we're watching the radar and the satellite very closely because we're right on the dividing line between very warm and humid air to the south, where temperatures are near 90 in Chicago and temperatures only in the 50s underneath the cloud cover up toward Eau Claire. A flash flood watch is in effect until tomorrow morning for all of southern Wisconsin, including Madison and Milwaukee. There's a tornado watch out to our west in parts of Iowa until 10 p.m. Severe weather has been occurring in the Des Moines area. Those storms are heading northeastward and probably will reach southern Wisconsin by mid to late evening. Probably not severe, but will bring the potential for heavy rainfall. Computer model forecasts show a general 1 to 2 inches of rain over the next 24 to 48 hours. Some amounts of 3 or 4 inches can't be ruled out in heavier thunderstorms, and that's because temperatures are near 80 near the Illinois state line and in the 50s north of La Crosse, but dew point temperatures are extremely high for this time of year in the lower 70s, and that's just fueling shower and thunderstorm chances. So expect off and on rain tonight and through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a cooler day with a high of 60. I'll have more details on weather in a few minutes.
All right, Gary, in the City of Madison urging people to stay alert in the event of flash flooding in the area tonight.
With no sandbagging efforts underway right now, there are things you can do to prepare and keep your home and your family safe. Jamie Perez joins us live to tell us what we can do. Jamie?
Well, right now, it actually just started sprinkling not too long ago, which is really one of the points that I wanted to bring up, that the city just wants to remind you that it could potentially be flooding later, even though it's not flooding at the particular time that you look out. We're no stranger to rain and flash flooding in this area. Larry Tardif lives in a part of town that is prone to flooding.
On Dayton Street by the school.
He's dealt with this for the past 10 years.
Right there at the corner, when it floods, it's right up to the curb.
The heavy rains and high lake levels can overwhelm our stormwater system. The city reporting that Lake Monona is up about half a foot from a month ago, and Lake Mendota is up by more than half.
Also shows how vulnerable we are right now.
The city wants you to prepare for potential floods, yet again.
Because we know how devastating flooding can be.
They're telling people who live in high-risk areas to not park their cars on the streets and to not drive through areas where the streets have standing water, because it might look calm 1 hour, but it could turn into something much more the next.
You know, Mother Nature is unpredictable, and sometimes she rains down on us a little harder than even our forecasters even predict.
Engineering crews are on standby throughout the night. They just need people like you to stay vigilant in the meantime.
It'll start gurgling up out of that sewer down in the end. They can't handle much more.
If you have a flooding concern throughout the night that you would like to report, city crews are on standby. You can call the number at the bottom of your screen. Otherwise, as I said earlier, just make sure you're paying attention to the up-to-date and local forecasts.
All right, Jamie Perez live downtown. Jamie, thank you.
Madison police have arrested two teens they believe shot a car and home on the east side this morning. Officers arrested 18-year-old Octavius Crone and 17-year-old John Trey Larson on tentative recklessly endangering safety charges. Witnesses reported hearing up to 14 gunshots around 7 o'clock this morning on Milwaukee Street near East Madison Baptist Church. Police located a van witnesses reported was involved in the shooting, vacant near Todd Drive. Crone and Larson were found at a home nearby. There were no injuries.
Developing tonight, Madison police have arrested one of the two men suspected of killing a 19-year-old on the north side over the weekend. Malik Moss was shot multiple times on Northport Drive about 6 p.m. Saturday. Now, this morning, Violent Crimes Unit detectives and a SWAT team took 33-year-old Lee Arthur Taylor into custody. Police are still searching for a second suspect, 37-year-old Lawrence Thomas. If you see him, you are asked not to approach him, but to call 911 immediately. Police in the city of Beloit are on the hunt for several people involved in a shooting on that city's west side. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with how that shooting is impacting a nearby neighborhood. Adam?
Well, Eric, Sunday's shooting in the city of Beloit did not leave anyone injured, but it left 5 bullets in the side of a home near the 1000 block of Bluff Street. And police officers tonight say even though no one was in the home at the time, they're taking this as absolutely seriously as they can. According to Lieutenant John Coltenbrunn of the Beloit Police Department, the call came in around 1:30 Sunday afternoon, and police found 10 shell casings near that 1000 block of Bluff Street. And tonight, Lieutenant Coltenbrunn has a message for those responsible.
We're ultimately going to find you, and when we do, we're going to arrest you, and then the process of law will have its bearing on them. We don't stop just because we've arrested somebody. We're going to be out there looking for these people who are causing the problems in the area.
Police say they're looking out for a white Chevrolet or a Buick, and they believe that there could be possibly 4 or more people that were involved in this shooting. They say anyone who has any information or any tips can send them to the Beloit Crime Stoppers.
All right, Adam Duxter in Rock County. Adam, thank you.
Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway wants vehicle owners to pay a $40 wheel tax to help fund a bus rapid transit system. The fee would be issued sometime at the start of next year, according to the mayor's 2020 budget proposal that was introduced today. It would be in addition to the $28 wheel tax adopted by Dane County in 2017. It's also what's not in the city's budget that has people talking.
Especially after the police chief's abrupt retirement this week, many are wondering how the city plans to support police officers going forward. Our Amanda Quintana joins us with the details. Amanda?
Yes, well, the focus is really on the police department. Now, former police chief Mike Koval saying he's been asking for money for more patrol officers since 2015, but has never gotten enough, expecting today's announcement would be no different.
I learned over the weekend that the chief was going to retire just like everybody else.
Just a day after former police chief Mike Koval revealed one of the reasons for his abrupt retirement was the lack of funding for more officers.
I'm tired of the politics.
Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway presents her budget with no funding for new officers.
It's really just non-stop call to call on many days where officers don't have time for a break, they don't have time for a meal, and not only is that very difficult on officers to deal with doing that on a day in and day out basis, but it impacts the quality of service that they're able to deliver.
Interim Chief Vic Wall will continue pleading the department's case. Not surprised officers weren't included.
Recognizing just the realities of the budget process and the city's fiscal situation, it was pretty clear we're not going to get all those officers in all positions. So that's why Chief Koval made the decision to move 12 non-patrol positions, eliminate them, and move them into patrol.
Alder Paul Skidmore says that's not enough.
We're hemorrhaging, and this is putting a tourniquet on it. It's only going to get worse. We're still grossly understaffed in terms of patrol.
He's calling Rhodes Conway's budget worst case scenario.
It doesn't matter how good the buses are, how good the libraries are, how good the parks are, if it's not safe to use them.
The proposed budget does include the hiring of an independent police auditor, a recommendation from the Police Policy and Procedure Ad Hoc Committee.
The idea is to have an independent individual who is able to look at any incidents or any investigations and that would happen inside the police department, and to have an independent eye onto those things.
Something Wall doesn't think of as a negative, as long as it's done properly with the right person, saying there is a positive takeaway from the budget, though. Annual mental health check-ins for MPD staff.
For those people that might be going through some trouble or struggle or need some additional assistance, then this can be sort of a conduit to other layers of support.
The budget also includes training for officers to better deal with those who may be experiencing a mental health crisis. While this is just the mayor's proposal, she was pretty clear that new officers is not something she believes will be included in the final 2020 budget.
Amanda, thank you.
Dane County Executive Joe Parisi says his 2020 budget focuses on removing barriers to opportunity and challenges facing the county's most vulnerable residents. The plan includes a new Office of Immigration Assistance within the county's Department of Human Services and adds another full-time bilingual social worker. It also bolsters the county's commitment to Centro Hispano.
Too many of our immigrant neighbors experience fear daily in the place they should feel the safest, their community. The resources we created, both within county government and with our partner support organizations like Centro, continue to be stretched with the very real needs of families thrust into living day to day in fear. Our neighbors need us, and we need to do more.
In total, the budget includes more than $180,000 new dollars to support our local immigrant communities. It also puts $3 million towards the county's affordable housing fund, $500,000 to help community centers launch new mental and behavioral health programs for children and families.
New at 6, the Wisconsin Department of Revenue will now collect an excise tax on vaping products. The new tax going into effect today applies to businesses that manufacture vape products for sale in Wisconsin. That means it also applies to businesses based outside the state that sell here. The tax rate is 5 cents per millimeter of liquid. The Legislative Fiscal Bureau estimated the tax could result in about $2.3 million in fiscal year 2020.
Next on News 3 Now at 6, the World Dairy Expo is in town, and so is the U.S. Agriculture Secretary.
We'll hear how local farmers think he's handling some of their biggest concerns coming up.
The 53rd Annual World Dairy Expo is underway now at Alliant Energy Center. Thousands of people will attend through Saturday to learn about the latest ag technology advancements, exchange some ideas, and meet other people in the industry. Nearly 100 countries are represented in the competitions there. Tickets $12 for ages 12 and up, 11 and under are free.
The Wisconsin Farmers Union says while President Trump was running for office, he promised to have farmers' backs. Now they say his rhetoric has turned out to be a laundry list of broken promises. Today at the World Dairy Expo, U.S. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue took questions from concerned farmers. When asked if Wisconsin farms will survive, he said yes, but they may have to get bigger, milking more than 100 cows to do so.
I originally got involved with Wisconsin Farmers Union to get a better idea of what I should do in the future. Where is my industry headed? What I heard today from the Secretary of Agriculture was that there's no place for me.
He says he's a fifth-generation dairy farmer who's at risk of losing everything unless he gets help from the state and federal government. Wisconsin has lost 551 dairy farms this year and 640 last year.
Governor Tony Evers plans to change the date of the special election for an open congressional seat after the U.S. Department of Justice alerted him the dates he set violate federal law. The governor set the election date for January 27th. This is to replace Republican Congressman Sean Duffy, who resigned last week. Governor Evers' spokeswoman says the state and federal law conflict with each other, and the governor is working to set a new date that'll likely be in April or May instead of January. Wisconsin Department of Transportation wants to remind people that exactly 1 year from today, you will need a new driver's license in order to board a flight. Starting October 1st, 2020, every air traveler 18 and up will need a Real ID compliant license. You'll also need it to enter any federal building or military base. For information on how to get that new license, you go to wisconsindot.gov.
The UW-Madison Homecoming Committee is apologizing and has removed a promotional video that did not include any students from underrepresented populations. The university is also apologizing, saying in a statement, quote, "We know that both historically and today, students of color and other underrepresented groups do not feel as welcome on our campus as majority students. As a community, we must commit to and invest in ways to change this."
All right, coming up in sports, big night for the Brewers as they fight to advance on in the National League wildcard game. Jay Wilson with an update on the Brewers' starting lineup.
And heavy rain could move in tonight, which might mean flash flooding issues. Gary shares how long the storms are expected to stick around next in your First Alert forecast. We'd like to thank everyone who has helped us collect 2,716 coats in our Coats for Kids drive. We are looking for winter coats of all sizes, but there's a large need for child and infant sizes. You still have time to take one final look before the deadline, which is this Saturday. You can drop off those items at any Clinky Cleaners location, again, through this Saturday, October 5th.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us now. We've already got a lot of standing water out there and more rain threatening the area.
Yeah, now we also have a severe weather threat, too. The Storm Prediction Center has just come out with a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until midnight. That is for most of southern Wisconsin. Does include the Madison area, back into parts of eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. Storms in Iowa that have been producing some severe weather around the Des Moines, Iowa area are heading northeastward and may affect at least parts of southern Wisconsin. Heavy rainfall of 1 to 2 inches or more north of Madison, but you can see that's just over the last 48 hours. More showers and storms are occurring there, but this is the warm air sector where there may be the potential for some severe weather. That's occurring over parts of Iowa here. And you can see those storms heading northeastward. There's a tornado watch there, and now a severe thunderstorm watch for southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois as those storms track into far southern Wisconsin, where temperatures are still in the 70s. In this area here, the rain has really cooled the air down. The severe weather threat is much less the farther north from Madison you go, but heavy rain certainly can't be ruled out. And the Storm Prediction Center does have that slight risk of severe thunderstorms south of Madison. That's why we have the severe thunderstorm watch. Rainfall amounts, according to the latest computer model forecast, generally about 1 inch to 2 inches over southern Wisconsin, with isolated amounts of 3 or 4 inches. That could lead to flooding. So we have alert days in the forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms, heavy rainfall, even some severe weather possible this evening, mainly south of Madison. And then tomorrow, showers and isolated thunderstorms. Any additional rainfall is just going to lead to additional flooding problems. Live view from the WISC sky cam. Actually, a little tiny break in the clouds there. The Edgewater sky cam downtown Madison showing cloudy skies and even some areas of fog. As we check out the almanac for today, our high temperature is 76 degrees. That's 11 degrees above normal. But look at that low temperature of 70. That is 26 degrees above average, and that's just because of the humidity that's around there. Dew point temperature right now is at 71 degrees. That's like you would find in late July, early August when it's really humid out there. Temperature right now is 74 and skies are cloudy. But look at the difference in temperatures. 80s across northern Illinois, 70s here in southern Wisconsin, and then you drop back to the 50s up toward Eau Claire and the Twin Cities. And the dew point temperatures along and south of that front that divides the two air masses in the lower 70s. So there's plenty of fuel for these showers and thunderstorms. Southerly winds at the surface collide with winds that are basically blowing from southwest to northeast aloft. So it's a very efficient way of making thunderstorms, and that's been occurring in a band all the way from Texas and Oklahoma all the way up into the Midwest. So until we can get this front to move south of us, the threat for showers and thunderstorms will continue. 91 right now in St. Louis, 45 in International Falls, Minnesota. That just shows you that tremendous temperature contrast. So again, severe thunderstorm watch until midnight for much of the area. Flash flood watch for everybody overnight into tomorrow morning. Look for showers and thunderstorms. Some of those could have gusty winds, hail, and heavy rainfall. Low temperature eventually dropping to 54 when winds shift around to the northeast. Tomorrow will be a cloudy, breezy, and cooler day with a high of only 60. Showers and a few isolated thunderstorms. You can see the shower and thunderstorm threat overnight, then maybe a little bit of a break tomorrow morning with more showers and isolated thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. Those should wind down on Thursday morning, and by Thursday afternoon, might actually see a few breaks in the clouds. But those rainfall amounts, again, we've got to keep a very close eye on this. 1 to 2 inches with local amounts of 3 or 4 inches and heavier thunderstorms. 7 to 10 day forecast. Rain chances again Saturday, but much of next week should be dry, and that'll be good news.
It's win or go home for the Brewers in Washington tonight. Some final thoughts from Craig Counsell in sports. It feels like the Brewers have had playoff games the last 3 weeks, but tonight it's really the playoffs. The National League wildcard game starts just after 7 in Washington. Win or go home. The starting pitchers, Brandon Woodruff for the Brewers, Max Scherzer for the Nationals. Lorenzo Cain is on the Brewers postseason roster. He's in the lineup tonight. He'll bat 7th, and we'll see if he can play through all his injuries to help get the Brewers to the National League Division Series against the Dodgers. Brewers manager Craig Counsell has been masterful managing his lineup to get this team to the wild card. He doesn't expect his strategy will change tonight.
Look, there's going to still be decisions for both of us to make. I still think it's about taking advantage of your team's strengths, so that doesn't change in a one-game scenario. That should not change. I don't think it's affected necessarily in a one-game scenario. I think, probably in a series is where it's more affected. I think for us, I think it gets more challenging for us.
If you saw a lot of very tall people having dinner at the Tornado Room last night, that was the Milwaukee Bucks. They're in town practicing at the Nicholas Johnson Pavilion the next 3 days, getting ready for the 2019-2020 NBA season. One of the most notable additions in the offseason is former Madison Memorial and Marquette star Wesley Matthews. Matthews is starting his 13th season in the league, and the Bucks are his 6th team. He'll add defense and three-point shooting to the Bucks this season as he's happy to be back home in Wisconsin.
Really, every time I go to practice, every time I step in the building, it's like it's familiar, but it's not at the same time. And it's an awesome feeling. It's hard to explain to be able to be home and compete and do what you love.
Moving forward, he's gonna know what time is it, but first practice we gotta bring everybody together because we're gonna definitely need the West going into the season.
The point spread for Saturday's Wisconsin-Kent State football game right now, the Badgers by 37. Kickoff at Camp Randall is at 11 a.m. The Golden Flashes head coach is Sean Lewis, who was a quarterback and tight end at Wisconsin from 2004 to 2007. Now, Kent State's offense is kind of fun to watch. It's a no-huddle spread that can hit on some pretty big plays, like this 53-yard touchdown pass against Auburn earlier this year. The Badgers' #1 ranked defense should be able to handle it, but Jim Leonard says Kent State's offense will give them a challenge.
There's times it looks like recess, guys running all over the place and O-linemen lined up here and shifting and motioning. But obviously they're well coached. I know Sean Lewis well. They're a well coached football team. They're going to play the game the right way, and it's up to us to execute and not allow them to hit the home run.
This week's Prep Media High School football game of the week, Monona Grove at Oregon. Alan Minner joins me for the call Friday night, 7 o'clock, live on channel3000.com. The Bucks at practice today said they were going to look for a sports bar to watch the Brewer game tonight, so if you see tall people, that's them. They're probably not wearing their numbers, but you'll be able to pick them
You'll be able to tell Giannis. He'll be the one flocked by all the fans, I'm sure. Gary, final check. What's
Watching
going on?
for the potential for severe weather moving in from the west. Radar right now has some stronger storms moving to southwestern Wisconsin.
All right, Karen, we'll have more updates throughout the evening. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.